XCOM UFO Defense is a science fiction turn-based single-player strategy game developed by Mythos Games in the UK, and it was released in March 1994. It was released as so it's called, the title is XCOM UFO Defense, released in 1994, and in the Europe it was actually called UFO Enemy Unknown. So that was the title in Europe. The in US it was called XCOM UFO Defense, and in the Europe they called it UFO Enemy Unknown. And I believe even in countries like Australia and other countries also, they got the European release. So I think even in those countries it was called UFO Enemy Unknown. So whoever got the European release got that name, UFO Enemy Unknown, rather than XCOM UFO Defense. And it was published by Microprose rather, and saw releases on these platforms: MS-DOS, MS-DOS being Microsoft DOS, DOS being disk operating system, which is the terminal type operating system, which is the precursor to Windows, which some people may know is quite an old operating system that predates Windows. And other platforms include Amiga, CD32, PlayStation being PS1, and Microsoft Windows. It is part of the XCOM series of games, and there are several titles in that game. The producer was Tim Roberts. The two brothers, Julian and Nick Gollop of Mythos Games, were the designers and programmers, and Julian Gollop also did art for the game, with John Reitz and Martin Smiley. The music was done by John Broomhall. So it's a single player game, it's not a multiplayer game, it's only a single player game. And there are 5 difficulty levels, from starting from beginner to all the way up to superhuman being the most difficult. So beginner is the easiest one, superhuman being the most difficult. And it has got 3 localized languages, including English, German, and French. And it has no networking features. Being a 1994 game, it has no networking features. It's only a standalone game, standalone single player game. It has no networking features like multiplayer gaming. There's no features like that. So it was originally planned by Julian Gollop of Mythos Games as a sequel to their 1988 game called Laser Squad. So the Laser Squad is the game that they released in 1988, and this was meant to be the sequel for that. So this game has a mix of real-time management simulation as well as turn-based tactical combat. The player basically plays the role of a commander of XCOM. XCOM is a secret international paramilitary organization, and the role of XCOM is to defend Earth against alien threats and invasions. So there are 2 phases of play in this game. The first phase sees the player taking on a strategic role to conduct research and development of new technology. Usually it's based on alien artifacts that are recovered from the combat area, build new bases and expanding existing bases, so building new facilities for those bases, manage personnel and finances, and monitor global alien activity and respond to alien threats. The second phase is during the various tactical combat missions that are in response to alien activity, and it involves controlling XCOM soldiers in a battle area, and it utilizes turn-based combat. And the game switches between these 2 phases, and the actions undertaken in one phase also affects the other phase. So it's very important to carefully plan your actions in both phases, in both the in the tactical phase, the tactical combat phase, as well as the strategic real-time phase, because they affect each other. So it's important to plan your actions in both phases. But but if you're new to the game and if you're learning the game, you can also get there as well eventually. So you don't have to worry too much. The game does have a learning curve, but it's not too steep. You can learn it. There is a manual that comes with the game. Usually, initially when they released the game, I believe it was on 3.5 floppy disks, those blue 3.5 inch or 3 point, yeah, I think 3.5 inch centimeter inch floppy disks, with the metal sleeve that you can slide back and forth. So those that was the medium that these games were released on, and I remember I actually bought the game back then. It came in a box, had all these 3.5 discs, and also had a printed manual. Obviously, these days you won't get the printed manual if you purchase this game. You will get a PDF copy of the manual, which is also fine. And if you're new to the game, you will need to refer to that manual. The game was a commercial success, and it also got good reviews, and it got fans from the strategy area. It got a following of fans from that area, and several publications have listed the game as one of the best video games ever made. IGN ranked this game as the best PC game of all time in 2007, and that's quite a significant achievement given that the number of games that PC games that have been released up till that point. That is a very significant achievement. And this was the first game in the XCOM series of games, and it also inspired other titles from other companies, including titles such as UFO Extraterrestrials 2007, UFO Alien Invasion 2014, and Xenonauts 2014. Mythos Games follow-up title to the game. They tried to do a follow-up title called The Dreamland Chronicles: Freedom Ridge, and but this was cancelled in 2001 because they couldn't find a publisher, and they also had funding issues, and this actually resulted in the closing of Mythos Games, which is unfortunate. And this cancelled game was later bought by Altar Interactive, Altar Altar Interactive, and was turned into the game UFO Aftermath 2003. And Julian Gollop, of Mythos Games, obviously the original people who were involved in the original game, he released a game in 2019 called Phoenix Point, and that was meant to be a follow-up to this game, the XCOM UFO Defense game. So these are games that actually relate to this game that I mentioned. Laser Squad 1988, The Dreamland Chronicles: Freedom Ridge, which was cancelled in 2001, UFO Aftermath 2003, UFO Extraterrestrials 2007, UFO Alien Invasion 2014, Xenonauts 2014, and Phoenix Point 2019. Phoenix Point 2019. Just the number of games, other games from other companies that this game inspired, again shows the level of quality in this game. So that's another sign of how good this game is.